What's the mindset of this team right now? I mean, not only have you lost the 2 straight, but just the way you've lost them. I got to imagine that, I mean, going to practice, it's just been a little bit tough.
Well, we're excited. We can't wait to get out there and play and really correct all the mistakes. I mean, you play all year for a chance for a championship game, and that's what we have the opportunity. So we're really excited and ready to get out there and correct mistakes.
Is there an idea that if you beat Virginia Tech, those 2 losses just kind of wash away?
They won't wash away. The sting and the pain will still be there. But our expectations and goals going into the season were to be a championship team. We still have that possibility. So right now the past is a bucket of ashes, and we're just trying to focus on what we can control, and that's going out and winning the ACC Championship.
You guys realize that it's a team you can't take lightly, even though you went up to Blacksburg. I remember after that win, you guys were definitely very up on yourselves, which rightfully so. But now that you're playing this team that's ripped off 7 straight, do you take that in consideration going into this game, that they are probably better than what you saw in Blacksburg?
Oh yeah, I mean they're an unbelievable talent. I mean they play extremely disciplined football. Their defense has been legendary. Special teams, since they joined the ACC and even before that. So I mean we have all the respect in the world for them. Conditions weren't great when we played them up there. We know there were a lot of factors that went into that game, and they're a totally different team, and we are too, from week 4 or 5 whenever we played them. So it's going to be a good matchup.
Dalton, Dabo had told us that maybe you guys had a little problem handling success there. Did you see that over the past month? And as one of the leaders on this team, I mean, how much responsibility do you kind of put on your shoulders for that?
I'm not sure. It's definitely one thing to handle adversity and a totally different to handle success, and it's tough, especially for a lot of us who've never been in this situation. I mean, we've never been 8-0 before. So you try to tune it out, but, it's virtually impossible. So for us, it's just about learning from our mistakes, trying to get better every week, trying to remain humble and focused, and we're just going to try to do the best we can do this week, and hopefully that'll be good enough.
Coach also said that he had like a 2.5-hour, 3-hour meeting with you guys yesterday. Do you feel like that kind of got everybody back on the same page and start to prepare in the right way for this week?
Definitely. I mean, it was an exposure meeting to some extent. I mean, it was about telling the offense what the defense was doing, examining what they were doing. It was allowing the defense to see what we were doing. It was about getting everybody on the same page, seeing that everything is correctable. It's not that we're not being coached the right way. It's not that we're not doing the right things in practice. It's that we're not executing on Saturday. So to me, it was very encouraging, very positive, because, we can correct it. And when we do what we're supposed to do, we're a pretty good football team. But we go out and make silly mistakes and just mental errors that, you can't have. We're not very good. So to me, it was very positive, and I think a lot of guys got a lot out of it.
You guys were in almost the same situation a couple of years ago, coming off a loss to South Carolina, heading to the championship game. Did those seniors kind of drag the rest of you back to the practice field and back to that kind of mentality where you were in it against Georgia Tech right to the very end?
We had great leadership that year with Thomas Alston, Michael Palmer, a lot of those guys, and they did do a good job of keeping us motivated. But at the same time, I mean, you're playing for an ACC championship, so you don't need a lot of motivation, and hopefully we won't have to do a lot of motivating this week, as this is why we all came to Clemson to win championships.
Well, speaking of motivation, do you ever talk about the fact that last time the ACC Championship was won here was 1991? Was that ever talked about with you guys?
Oh yeah, it's talked about a good bit, and just the feeling we had when we were getting oranges thrown at us the last time we played in this ACC Championship game, and just coming up short at the end. I mean, most people go their whole life and don't get a chance to play in a championship game, and this is our second time in the past 3 years, so we're just trying to execute and go out on top, because it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for most people.
Dalton, any thoughts on making first team All-ACC as a junior?
It's an unbelievable honor. There's a lot of talent in this league, and for the coaches and everybody that voted to think that much of me, it's just a blessing, just humble.
3 weeks ago we were talking about trying to pick up the pieces after Georgia Tech, and then pick up the pieces after NC State, now pick up the pieces after South Carolina. You've had that opportunity and you failed several times. What leads you to believe that this time the message is going to get through? We're going to understand it, we're going to get it, and we're going to fix this, because you've had that opportunity several times in the last month and didn't capitalize.
It's about controlling what we can control. It has nothing to do with South Carolina. It has nothing to do with Georgia Tech or NC State. It has to do with Clemson. And if we go out and control the things we can control, do the things we're coached to do, we'll be fine. And that's basically what it boils down to. That's what the meeting was about. That's what this whole season's been about. We know that if we go out and play, we don't feel like there's anybody in the country that can beat us. But if we beat ourselves, you've seen the result.
How do you get confidence back when it starts to go away? I mean, this team was playing Auburn and Florida State. It seemed to be clicking on offense, and now it just seems like, Taj's confidence is a little shaky. Sammy dropped a touchdown pass last week. It seems like, how do you get that back when it starts going the wrong direction?
I don't think great players lose their confidence. I think you have to have a swag every time you step on the field. For younger guys, that might be a little harder to develop and to attain each and every week. But for us, it's about going back to the fundamentals, the techniques, what got us to where we were when we were 8-0, doing the little things right, taking more time to prepare, practicing and giving it everything you have, not moaning, not groaning because it might be a little hot or it might be cold or whatever the circumstances are, just giving it everything you have. And I think everybody's really on the same page this week, seeing how we're playing for a championship.
How much would a championship winning the ACC change your perception of what's happened over the last month with this team?
Well, I mean, as I mentioned, going into the season, everybody's hope was that we would win the championship, and that's what we have at stake. So, as poorly as we finish the season, it would be a great way to cap it off.
Dalton, how big a factor can the crowd have? They're expecting 40,000, 50,000 Clemson fans there. Obviously, you guys won all your home games. How important can that crowd be to maybe give you guys that spark Saturday night?
Oh, yeah. I mean, we love the crowd. We have the best fans in the country, and, we thrive off of their energy and their enthusiasm. And when they're up, we're up. It gets our defense going. It gets us going on offense, and it's just a lot of fun. I mean, I think that's definitely an advantage to any team when they have a good crowd behind them.
This Holden Mike thing stinks. Jeez.
Real quick, just one more question about Taj Boyd. There's been sort of talked about in these conferences. Confidence is wavering now, certainly looked so against USC, feeling the pressure in the pocket at times, even when there wasn't any. What are you talking to him about? Trying to get him to relax, being the center of the guy who gives him the ball every time. What are you trying to do to get him to settle in, especially in this big game this weekend?
Well, Taj has unbelievable confidence and focus, especially for his age and being a first-year starter. I'm not too worried about him, but I do kind of take him aside and, just try to encourage him as well as the whole offensive line. And, but let's face facts, we've given up 10 sacks in the past 2 games, and that's completely unacceptable. He has a right to kind of be, hesitant back there. And that's on us as an offensive line, and it's on us to get it corrected.
Thanks, man.
Thanks, sir.
Sure.
It's good, man. Want me to keep them, boys?
If you want to, sure. Thanks. Appreciate it.